Okay, last game versus KP playing Jinteki PE. See if we can get out of this with at least a couple of wins. Though, again, not my favourite matchup of all time. We have got Deus Ex in here and some clone chips, and hopefully that's going to do some work against KP's options. We've mulliganed into some economy, a dog breaker, an R&D interface, and an Atman. It's not the worst start I've ever seen. We just have to be careful here that we don't end up getting ourselves killed unnecessarily early, which is often the way in which RP wins, is that it will bait people into dying unnecessarily by being aggressive. So yeah, we're just dump the technical writer and a Katie, start firing at my economy. Now ordinarily an unprotected HQ is an invitation to go at least to have a little fishing, but again that's one of the ways against RP that you can easily lose, like face planting into a snare on your last click, or in a position where you're not able to deal with the damage and the tag, can be game over for you. With that in mind, I don't tend to go and check Mushin no Shind remotes particularly, certainly not early on. Until the game depends on that not being the winning agenda, I will happily let that sit there. So this is an interesting timing thing here. So he's asking me whether I'm taking the virus tokens off. I'm obviously not, because I want to save them for emergency dog strength. So the reason he's asking that is that he's going to play snatch and grab, which is not something I normally expect out of PE. I suspect it's probably there as the kind of counter film critic, and yeah, he's asking whether I can take the counters off for the trace now, and no, I can't. There's no paid ability window, and the paid ability window is what you need in order to take counters off your cache until the event has fully resolved. So I'm not in a position to take money to try and beat his trace. So yeah, he traces me for 3. So obviously he's after my KT. So the question is whether I want to take the tag and essentially trade 2 of my credits for 2 of his and a click, or whether I want to just let him trash it. I'm still not 100% sure what the right choice is here. I think probably just letting him trash the KT, but yeah, I mean, I think taking the tag and forcing him to spend the extra click to trash it is probably just overall worse. Like, it costs me the 2 credits to clear the tag, gives him access to my technical writer if he wants to spend the money to do that, but yep, for reasons, because when I recorded this it was like midnight on Sunday night. I don't make a great choice here. Obviously he pays to kill Katie, so it cost him a little more. And then as a counterpoint, I now have to spend a click and 2 credits in order to clear the tag. So not really sure what I was so obsessively drawing for there. And again, drawing into your levy with 35 cards left in your deck against PE, that's not a great feeling, because now you know that if this game goes long, you need to protect that levy so that you can levy back as many cards as possible in order to extend your life. So if I get hit by something big, then that levy is probably going bye-bye, and along with it, a significant portion of my chances of winning this game. So it was a fetal. I'm kind of glad I didn't faceplant into it. It did get one of my dogs, which is not ideal. So now I need to go find a clone chip to recur that, because that's really my only code gate breaker, apart from my admin. Sharpshooter's not a bad draw, although obviously Deus Ex is really what we want. Also, we can use Scavenge to get our dog back, obviously. Scavenge not just for putting the same program into the bin and getting it out. We can actually, say, scavenge away this Sharpshooter now and recur the Rex. Really, all I'm looking for here is a way to feel safer. I'd like my Deus Ex or a self-modifying code so I can go fetch my Deus Ex. Another Mushin remote, and again I'm just going to adopt the same policy I did last time, which is leave it on the board. Aesop's is good. That's going to let our economy roll a bit. But yeah, I'm still feeling that I haven't quite got all the bits and pieces that I need. So I might as well just install that, take that credit off there, because we know we're going to sell it to Aesop's at the beginning of the next turn. I mean, were that Server 3 install a Future Perfect now, I would be very worried. Obviously that puts me in the position where I have to now start checking every installed car. That puts me at an obvious disadvantage. But it looks like the not checking that has paid off. Oh no, it's profiteering, and he's just gained 15 credits and 3 bad pub. Well, bad pub's good for us in terms of it mitigates our dog strength issues, but him gaining 15 credits means that it seems unlikely now that there's going to be a window in which he cannot fire his traps. Yeah. And we're about to see what's in his hand. -2. So hedge fund, snare, Jackson, celebrity gift, cerebral overwriter. Now, funnily enough, when I was actually playing this game, I didn't register that he had overdrawn with Jackson to get 7 in his hand before showing the remainder with celebrity gift. So what that tells me now, but what I didn't realise at the time, is that there's probably at least one agenda in there as well, which he's trying not to reveal the existence of. So he's discarding down. We're going to sell that, obviously. So this is a have you discarded anything? And yes, he has. And the reason I ran the Jackson there rather than running the archives was because I was worried about shocks, so I would much rather run at the Jackson and threaten the run into archives in that situation than the other way round. Normally I would run at the archives and that would prompt the Jackson trash, but if it's full of shocks, and of course he immediately plays the second Jackson from his hand and goes into overdraw mode. Again, we can't compete with his credit pool, but hopefully we're not trying to. So he's just going to discard down again. What do I want to do in this situation? Like, my worry is that I'm not accomplishing anything, and that essentially by running, especially with this lever in my hand, all I'm doing is making things difficult for myself. Okay, that's 2 Jacksons out of the way. And again, multi-access is can be a double-edged sword against PE, but at the same time, you don't want your runs to be as efficient as possible. Certainly, if I can find a film critic here, fishing out fetals with film critics is pretty good. When I see that install advance, I'm not sure why I don't run at that. I think probably because my feeling is that if that was a fetal, there's no way that they'd install it naked and advance it twice. It seems more likely that it might be a cerebral overwriter. So now we're in this shell game, guessing game position. What I can do here, of course, is fetch myself a Deus Ex and then start checking these remotes. So what I'm thinking about here is taking those 5, running at server 6, fetching out a Deus Ex, and of course that's the cerebral overwriter. And at this point I've got nothing to lose checking this one as well, apart from the fact it's a Shattered Remains, which is going to take my clone chip and R&D interface. Bad news. The Shattered Remains, of course, being one of the cards I didn't see. And a lower hand size is pretty bad, yeah. So the irony here is, of course, I've been advocating not checking remotes until you're under pressure, and as soon as I stop taking my own advice, I find myself in a much worse position. I've lost many points worth of many credits worth of hardware, and also made it much easier for me to die. However, I have drawn a film critic, which is useful. I don't want to reveal the existence of the film critic, and of course I can't actually break whatever ice he's got over R&D at the moment. Oh, I can. Sorry, I can clone chip back a self mod in order to fetch some kind of icebreaker. And as always, I'm played like a fiddle. Or out? No, go up to 4. Could be another cerebral overwriter for a negative hand size kill, perhaps. But yeah, that's a strange one. What could the install advance naked, then advance it twice more naked thing be? So yeah, I dumped the film critic. he installs and scores the fetal. So obviously he was just trying to bait me into the fetal. If I'd film criticked and ran it, I would have been in a far better position. But at this point, I'm really not playing at my best. I'm playing scared in front of PE, and they can see that. I'm not putting any pressure on them. They're forcing me to play their shell game. So finally, after like half an eternity, I am going to take the money off the technical writer here. Oh no, I'm not. I'm just gonna... There we go. Install that. See again, this is very bad play by me, exceptionally bad play. I'm durdling around, I'm not really accomplishing anything, I'm just installing stuff for the sake of things, essentially just to put credits on my technical writer. Finally I make a run on R&D and see that all that's been keeping me away forever has been a pup, which I could just bad pub through constantly. I can't trash that Ronin, but I can trash that Cerebral Overwriter. And this is why you should go into the R&Ds of PE decks. Not necessarily with abandon, but you're maybe going to hit a few snares, but at the same time you are definitely going to be able to diffuse their Ronins, their Mushin, their Cerebral Overwriters and stuff like that. So to me, a Mushin no Shin there, that just smells like a Ronin. Yeah, just checking to see how many Cerebral Overwriters were gone. So I start my turn. Again, with Deus Ex out, I'm not particularly worried. I can bad pub through the pup. Kill a June bug. See a second Ronin, which we can't kill. So take some money and run back. Kill the Ronin. See an Eli. And then probably run at server 10 just in case it's another fetal. My decision making process obviously enhanced by me moving the mouse cursor around and going, which one are you? And then yeah, actually what I decide to do instead is do that. And he reses like a chairman hero at the end of my turn, which is a fairly unexpected thing to happen, but sure. So that takes my hand size down to 1. Yeah, so the only thing I can reasonably afford to keep is my and then he's gonna pop his Ronin and try and kill me and not remember that I've got a Deus Ex in play, so I'll prevent all that. Now, annoyingly, because I know the outcome of this game and what happens, I can see some alternative lines of play here. But yes, so the chairman hero is obviously a priority. It's going to get me 2 points just for trashing it, and also it cost me next to nothing because of all the bad pub. Now realistically, with 2 clone chips out and the Deus Ex in my bin, I should check both of his face down remotes. Instead I just doodle around and draw, thinking that both of those are empty, but in fact one of them is Philotic, and that's game over. So yes, that is all of my Nasir misery. I have some serious misgivings about Nasir as an ID. I find him extremely difficult to pilot. I think the current meta does not suit him at all, and also I played some of those games very badly. But hopefully it acts as a tutorial at least on what not to do. Thank you all for watching, and hopefully I will have a more successful series of videos coming up in the next week.